during a recent appearance on a podcast. Everyone's got one. Bills quarterback Josh Allen. Yes, the end-all be-all. The great Josh Allen was asked about the Stefon Diggs situation. Did you hear what he said? Maybe not. Maybe not. So these quotes have legs in the last 24 hours or so. So Allen said, quote, "I have him. That's my guy," he mumbled. The Bills quarterback went on to say that, listen, there's a reason this story is still out there. He pivoted to play the blame game. What was the blame game, you say, for Josh Allen? He said, the media, the evil media, has blown this far out of proportion. We're not playing a game, Allen stated, for 4 months. He doesn't show up for one day, Allen groaned. The media is still talking about it. Let it go. Well, good news, Josh. We're still talking about it. Now, Stefon Diggs supposedly will play his 4th season with the Bills, assuming he actually shows up to practice and ends up playing in the game. So let us discuss. The question, is the NFL media to blame here? Are they responsible for blowing up the Stefon Diggs story in Buffalo and blowing it out of proportion? So my take on this, I'm shaking my head. No, I've got gaslighting, whistleblower, and downstream. And we will tie all of these things together, and we are going to make a nice upset stomach, which you likely have from having too many hot dogs and burgers and other crap that you ate on the 4th of July. So, Josh Allen's response was both predictable and baffling at the same time. Here's why. Anybody with a functioning prefrontal cortex knows that in the context of football conversation, Stefon Diggs not being happy is a big deal. Why? Let's go through the list. Buffalo is a Super Bowl contender. Check. Stefon Diggs is one of their best players. Check. Stefon Diggs is a malcontent. Check, check, check. He's the epitome of the diva wide receiver. Check, 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 check. Right out of central casting. Now, I don't know Stefon Diggs in the real world. Maybe he'd be a fun guy to hang out with, but he's got issues in terms of the Bills, and they're very public issues, and these were not created by Joe Blow in the media. We are bemused by the spin from Josh Allen. It is a misdirection play. And the Bills, and we thank them for this. We're not upset with the Bills. We're happy for the Buffalo Bills because they have aired out their dirty laundry. And those Bills Mafia guys that would goof on other teams that had the diva wide receiver and make fun of those other teams, well, now the IOUs have come due. All right, now the IOUs have come due. And so the Bills go out there, they air out their dirty laundry, and they shift the hostility towards the pigskin pundit and dousing them with pepper spray. But really what Josh Allen is doing here is gaslighting the fan. It is psychological manipulation. Every man, woman, and child knows what's been going on inside the Bills locker room. It's palace intrigue. And so Allen is gaslighting. The Bills are doing things and then claiming the opposite happened. For example, Stefon Diggs had a very public conniption fit on the sidelines. It was directed at Josh Allen. That was during that blowout playoff loss to the Bengals. It was caught by the CBS cameras for posterity's sake. And then Stefon Diggs attempted to leave the locker room, we are told, before even the coaching staff arrived. He wanted to get out of there. He had somewhere to go. He then sent out a bunch of cryptic messages on social media and then held a sit-down strike during the day one of the mandatory minicamp for the Bills. But there's nothing to see here. It's the media. It's the media. Okay. Wink, wink, nod, nod. Now, page 2. Who gets credited with enhancing this Stefon Diggs drama-rama in Buffalo? So the simplest answer is the right answer. The buck stops with Stefon Diggs. He's the bickering ball player. But it doesn't stop the conversation because when you go back and look at the receipts and the minicamp brouhaha, you say, well, Diggs is the one that was the bad actor. But Coach Sean McDermott he was standing there over the barbecue pouring kerosene into it, and he was the whistle blower. Whistle, whistle, whistle. Kind of like an Astro player during the 2017 World Series. He was blowing the whistle. And Sean McDermott was asked about, if you don't remember this, he was asked about Stefon Diggs. If you remember it, I'll refresh your memory. And he declared that he was, quote, very concerned about Stefon Diggs and his lack of practicing. Those were his words. Those weren't my words. Those weren't the media's words. Even Josh Allen himself gave an incriminating quote, turning up the heat on the stove when asked about it. He said internally, at the time, this is before the recent comments, he said internally, we're working on some things. Okay, yeah, we're working on them. Take a little sabbatical. And again, not the work of the football media. They were merely reacting to what was being said. Now, the last word here. All right, final part of this. So where is this Stefon Diggs story going? I'm glad you asked. I am glad you asked. We are headed towards a nice pyrotechnic show that will rival the one that you watched on the 4th of July, assuming you actually watched one. I'm talking fireworks. I'm talking drones, the whole thing. Things are going to get wacky in Buffalo. We are on a collision course. And all these Bills Mafia guys that are fans of the show, all the Buffalo crowd that likes the show that tell me, you're just being a shock jock. You're just throwing crap on the radio. It's not going to happen to us. Okay. I heard the same thing with every other diva wide receiver. And I have no problem with the diva wide receiver. They're good for my business. I want more. I don't want less. I love the diva defensive back. I love the diva wide receiver, the diva quarterback, wherever the diva is. I'm all about it, right? And so the Bills, they're on a collision course, Stefon Diggs and the locker room and Josh Allen. The Bills are set for extreme downstream liability. All right, so downstream liability means that you don't know when it's going to happen, but at some point it's going to happen. The locker room has been booby-trapped, and the Stefon Diggs fuse is going to blow at some point, and when it blows, you'll say, there she blows, kaboom! Not a matter of if, but when. It is a fait accompli. It is going to happen. And I don't know about you, but I will be right here with a large bucket of buttered movie theater popcorn in my arm, and I will have my hand in the popcorn, and I will be enjoying the show. Now, does it happen on the first pothole? Is it the second or the third pothole? Normally the way the Bills go, and I know this from years and years of watching the Buffalo Bills from afar, the Bills normally have, when they have these good teams, and they've had a few over the years, they get off to great starts. The weather's pretty good in September, right? The beginning of the year. October, the weather's still pretty solid. And then normally around late November, things turn sideways. And then December, they get even worse. And the Bills' wagon hits a sinkhole. And it becomes a situation where the offense, Stefon Diggs, is not getting a lot of numbers because nobody is getting great numbers because of those lake effect blizzards that are a tradition in Buffalo and the other cold weather games they have to play in. So when this happens, sparks will be in the air everywhere. They're going to be so amazing. Oh, it's going to be great.